Okay, let's see. Should be Gucci Gucci. Alrighty. Everybody, I'm going to be live on YouTube right now for a little bit for a Thanksgiving live stream. If you're bored, if you're with your family and you want to ask some questions, feel free. Oh, let me redo that. Second take. Okay. Everybody, going to do a live stream for Thanksgiving for a little bit. If you're bored, you're with your family or whatever, hop on my Hector Castillo channel and yeah, ask any questions. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Dun, 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 dun. Happy Thanksgiving, man. Happy Thanksgiving. You doing anything special? Going to see family? Meditate. Very nice. What kind of meditation are you doing? What's the goal? Do you just want to learn to be calm, or are you trying to get enlightened? And what are you reading? Cool. Sure, you're trying to learn mindfulness. Psycho-cybernetics. Sounds like something from Cyberpunk. But yeah. Yeah, being in the present, not getting lost in whatever fantasy your mind is coming up with. Like, 1960s. Huh. Let me look it up. Psycho cybernetics. Oh, the word cybernetics is translated from Greek. A helmsman who steers his ship to port. I didn't know that's what cybernetics meant. Oh. Oh, I get it. It's not about like sci-fi shit. It's about interesting. So this is where self-help kind of came from. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, yeah, self-image is huge. I mean, it's just difficult to talk about because most people aren't going to ground it in any sort of action, right? I mean, like, the pickup community was fucking obsessed with self-image for a long time, especially with Real Social Dynamics. I mean, most of their shit was about. I remember I had a friend who bought one of their products, and I kind of looked over it, and it was just mostly inner game shit. And a lot of it was just, messing with the mind. But the problem was Nobody is grounding it in experience, so it doesn't really have any meaning, you know. It's just like being an academic, right? And I've spent a lot of time around academics, and they do nothing with their lives, you know. They just sit around and talk, but none of them actually do anything, right? Like a philosophy professor who's talking about ethics but has never really been in any difficult ethical situation in his life, right? Like, he isn't popular and girls like him, so he's been tempted to, like, hook up with a girl who has a boyfriend, or you know, has a lot of girls liking him and doesn't really know how to navigate. You know, when you're in, being successful is probably one of the greatest tests of someone's character. Like, being successful and being poor and having nothing, right? Those are the two greatest tests of your character. But your self-image is huge. And by the way, Okafor Bryce, been loving your work, man. Thank you, appreciate it. But more useful when I faithfully practice it, even if I don't understand. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times you have to practice something before you understand it, right? You'll understand it by putting it into practice. I mean, that's, what is that? Oh, that's the couch. Okay. I was like, what's that thing? For some reason, this is wider now, kind of a wider view. Didn't used to be so wide. Interesting. My self-image for a long time was basically, well, here, let me ask you guys, Obi-Wan and Okafor, let me ask you, in your life, have you felt like you're special, like you're different? Not that you're the main character, right? Everyone thinks everyone is the main character in their own life, as they should be, and it's impossible to be otherwise. But I want to ask you, have you always felt special? Like, you were really, 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 like, you're different than the average person. Not like, I'm trying to say it without the normal way that most people think about it. Like, you actually think you're special. Like you're great. And do you think that you're greater than everyone? And have you ever thought you're greater than everyone? How about this? Do you think that without a doubt you're greater than almost everyone around you? Like, I don't care if it's objective or true or rational or realistic. I mean, genuinely, do you think that, like, you have an edge up on everyone else and everyone else is a bit lacking? Either you're better than everyone or everyone's shit, and you just happen to be less shit than they are. Sephiroth, how can I explain topics to people in an easy way to understand? I remember you talking about this years ago. I'll get to that in a second. Let me cover this, and then we'll move on. Because I'm curious about your opinion too, Sephiroth. Have you felt like everyone around you kind of sucks? Then sometimes I think I'm worse. When I was 12 and figuring out morality, religion, and choices, but then realized we had the internet, I'm better than the whole family. Meaning you're better than the whole family. Like, anyone in your family, you're kind of greater than them. Bro is aging so well, you don't look a day over 22. I appreciate it, man. I have a baby face. I do indeed. That'll help when I'm older. Genetically, it seems like I'm destined to have a long life. Whether that actually plays out that way, who knows, you know? I could get hit by a car tomorrow. But genetically, yeah, I got some decent looking genes. My dad is almost 60 and he looks like he's he looks like he's in his early 40s. My dad looks really young. Like really young. Maybe even late 30s he could pass for, and he's almost 60. And he's strong. He's the strongest person I've ever met in my life. The dude is just like a beast. And he's small. He's as tall as me. But the dude is a beast. Okay, so I see the errors they made and things they don't see. I tried to help, but ignore my suggestions to other people while I just never get along with them. Yeah. So kind of like you see the mistakes everyone's making, and then you're like, how do you guys not see the very blatant errors you're making? Yeah. Yeah, I get it. But here's what I mean by, like, do you think you're special? I mean, if you had to, if it was like a tier list and you put yourself against like everybody, like where would you rank? Are you C tier, B tier, A tier, S tier? What would you rank yourself? Like, I guess there would be yourself right now, and you're at, like, where you think you're headed. Like, do you actually think you're headed to greatness, or do you think it's even important to be great? How much do you think power plays into effect when it comes to dating? Do you think people think too much about it or not enough? What do you mean by power, Ricky? Do you mean like if you're the manager at a bar, right? You have power when you're in that location. Like when you're there, you're the top. You're the cool guy, right? Like I've seen people in their environment and they're like really confident and cool, but then you take them out of it and they lose that because they have environmental confidence. Right? It's not sustained. But it is very powerful. I mean, if you meet a girl when you're in your element, I mean, she's going to see you as very, very very attractive. I think it's really, really powerful. I guess this is the TLDR version. It's very powerful, but don't become dependent on it. I think the most powerful, I want to do a tier list on dating, like dating skills, you know, like what's S tier, what's B tier. I think that would be a fun thing to do, right? I guess I could just do it right now and record it and then use it as a video, right? That would be fun. Let me find a tier list maker.
The one that I always buy? Mm-hmm. It was pepper. It was black pepper and salt.
Make a template.
Garlic.
Dating tier list, I guess.
We could probably buy all the ingredients and make one big giant bag for. Because how much those bags are? $14.
Let's see. Wait, call out some names. Who? Who's James Marshall? Oh, wait, I think I know who he is. I think I remember. Isn't he the guy with the long hair? James Marshall. Oh, yeah. Oh, you think I'm going to make a tier list with people. I mean, dude, of course that would go viral. Oh, my God. But it's not the kind of image I want. Dude, there would be so many easy ways to become popular on YouTube, right? Starting drama, talking shit on people, which isn't not like starting drama, but like just talking about popular subjects. Reactions, which I have done a little bit. But I meant like dating skills, like what's going to contribute the most to your success in your dating life, like having a good body, being good looking, da 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 da, right? That's what I mean in terms of a tier list. Join with Google. Okay. Okay, tier maker account. Make a template. Dating skill. Dating skill tier list. Yeah, I guess we'll call it that. I also want to make a tier list about fucking like who's a 10 out of 10, and just grab pictures of a bunch of girls, you know, and see what other people like. I'm only allowed to put up 9s and 10s that someone considers a 9 or a 10, and then make a big list and have everyone rate it and see what the average rating, and see if there's some sort of like this type of girl is more universally seen as beautiful. There's so many variables there. Like, is it a good photo of them? Is it a good angle, good lighting, etc.? Do you think it's best to gain social skills being in an environment you're comfortable in and being strong in that frame, or adapting to many different circumstances? Here's what you should do. Get an environment where you are really comfortable. Like I said, you know, like you're a manager at a restaurant. Learn how it feels to be in control, right? And learn, and what you'll do is you'll be able to see what it means for people to be liking you, right? Like, you're popular, people respect you. But then you realize it's very dependent on your position, right? But you'll still develop the ability to see what it feels like, and you'll get used to being in that position, right? And then when you go out into a circumstance where you're not the popular guy, you can recognize, oh, I'm not getting those same results. Well, it's largely dependent on me not having a status here. Okay, 1. But 2, I'll be able to know what it looks like when it does happen, or I'll see the signs of it, right? And I know how to handle it. But the only thing you have to safeguard against is not getting butthurt when you're not cool, right? Just don't get butthurt about it. Be very calm. Be okay with not being popular. Okay, let's see. I'm going to get some images here on like muscular arm Bodybuilder. Okay. Yeah, tier lists are a lot of fun. So, guys, just start naming off things that like are, like charisma, inner game, love, respect, like things that like you would think are involved in having a dating skill, like dating skills, like conversation, da 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 da. Like everything that you can think of, like your sex game, right? Like I'll just use a bed. Yeah. Presence, clear intent. Yeah. Yeah, things like that. Um voice. Fashion. Men. Uh Popular. Man. Oh, this is pre-selection. Oh yeah. That's S tier. Pre-selection is like God tier. Um Oh, it was 9 o'clock. That's right. I got it wrong. Okay. Okay. Pre-selection popularity, which is different. Bed skills. Charisma, conversation, voice. Um. Body language, facial expressions, money, height, good looks, dick size, Let's see. What else? Fundamentals. Yeah, well, yeah, you could just call them fundamentals, but that would we'd lose a lot of like the fun stuff, you know? Social circle, I would put that under popularity, right? That's easier. If you approach a girl and she sees you approach another girl, it depends how it goes. It's gonna hurt your attainability, but it's gonna raise your value,
Did you like the pizza?
especially if it's successful, right?
It's all greasy, huh?
It has to be successful, right? If it's a failure, then you lose attainability and value. All right. Love of women. And then let's say love of women. What else? Fitness. Tier list on inner game advice. Yeah, I could do that as well. So we could, dude, I could do so many tier lists on each individual one. So this will be like the general one, then I'll go into individual ones. You know, like experience / knowledge is huge. Actually, I would say they're different. Experience, knowledge. Like knowledge, like I've read a lot of information. Being dangerous. Okay, yeah. We could put that. Dangerous, tough. Let's call it tough. Like being tough. That's a good way to put it. You know, kind of all-encompassing. Okay, this is what I have. Pre-selection, popularity, bed skills, charisma, conversation, voice, experience, knowledge, body language, facial expressions. So different fundamentals. Money, height, good looks, dick size, love of women, tough. How do you make it man to woman on dates? The main thing is seeing her sexually. I mean, that's the fundamental nature of man versus woman. Our fundamental distinction is that we want to fuck the other. Empathy. Oh, decisiveness. Empathy. Yeah. That could be it. Empathy. That's a good one. Okay. So we have voice, we have fashion, we have pre-selection here. Okay, so let's just do it in order. Fitness, bed skills, voice, pre-selection. Where's fashion? Okay, fashion. Popular. Let's just look up popular. Okay, I'm gonna use an image from Mean Girls. That'll be fun. Purpose. Purpose is cool. I think purpose is good. I'd probably make purpose like B tier. That'll be my guess. Conversation. Conversation. Experience. Just put a fucking old man. Oh, age. Yeah. That will definitely be something. Age is a thing. Experience versus age, right? Not necessarily the same thing. So say experience. Experience. Age. Book. For knowledge. Like just, you know, knowing different theories, blah, 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 all that shit. Excellent at something. Oh, like a skill. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah. Or intelligence. That's what I'm going to use for the book. Duh. Fucking intelligence. Creativity. Creativity. Let's just put knowledge about women with experience. Because all I'm going to say if someone knows a lot about game is that they don't actually know a lot about game. Creativity. Creativity. Let's say like a skill, right? Like skill. I looked up skill and I got some buzz saws. Apparently it's called skill. All right, skill. Yeah, skill. Body language. Hygiene. All right, man. Good luck with your meditation. See you, man. Chase frames. Well, yeah, I think that'll be a little bit. That'll be a little bit. Meditation. I mean, I think that's something that just gives you a lot of these skills, right? Texting. Oh yeah. Yeah, knowing how to text for sure. For sure that's going to be huge. Body language. Let's say facial expressions. Let's see. Gray sweatpants? Hmm. Okay. Um. Shocked face. Money. Height. How you're perceived by your social circle. I'll consider that just popularity, like in general, you know? Just in general, popularity and height. Are you going live on here now? I'm going to switch between the two. So I'll stream on Girls Chase and I'll stream on here too. I'm trying to build up my own channel too. Just to have my own separate thing. You know, not be too dependent on one thing. One second, I'm gonna get some water. But no, I'll be doing both, and I'm gonna start regularly uploading videos on here too. Okay. Money. I got money on there. I got height. Good looks. Uh, Eggplant. Decisiveness. I don't really know how to even. Empathy. And okay, love. And then tough. I know you meant like protective of like that scene from Peaky Blinders that you just mentioned, but I'm just gonna put tough for all of that, you know. Just kind of general. All right. I think that should be a lot of things. On Girls Chase, do that have a lot on wit and banter? Do they have like articles and stuff? Yeah. Yeah, that's more like conversational stuff. Would tattoos make the list? Oh, that's interesting. I guess we could consider that under fashion. You know? I don't know, that might be a cool thing to put. Yeah. Yeah, we could do tattoos. That's a decent one. Tattoos. Okay. So I think that's generally pretty good. Let's see how many. Okay. Let's do the tier list over here. And then do you have any articles that you recommend for beginners? It's so this is an interesting thing where knowing what to start on is probably one of the most important things, but it's not so simple. Like, here's what you have to do as a beginner. You have to ask yourself, what is it that I suck at? And what is it that I'm good at? Right? So, do you have a lot of friends? Then you're probably pretty charismatic. So charisma is not your issue. But if you have a lot of friends but you suck with women, you have charisma but you lack like a sexual energy. Or you're just not trying. It could just be that you're not trying. You'll be just fine if you just start talking to girls. You know? All right. I'm going to... One second. Let me pull up the chat on my phone so that... I can watch it while I do the tier list. Okay. And then I'll pull up the tier list. All right. And then let's see. Display capture. Do that. Do that. Take that off. And then here. All right. Where's the name of it? Oh, there we go. Alrighty. I remember 10 years ago when I spent hours reading articles every day. I have a feeling getting one date would help you out, Bryce. Yeah, one date's a pretty generally good thing. I would say, look, definitely work on texting. Okay? Definitely work on texting. So I would suggest getting my texting book. You're 100% going to need texting. Every guy sucks at texting. It's the number one problem, right? Oh, did I put texting on here? I definitely should have put texting. Oh my god. Texting. It's huge. Huge. One second. Texting skills. Or texting. Right? One second. I don't know what I have here. Okay, texting. Okay, bam. Okay. Cool. Alrighty. So let me make sure that this is actually showing. Alright, let me see the... Oh, Lord Jesus. Yeah, I'll put myself in the top right, because then you can actually see everything. Okay. All right. So, what we're going to do is we're going to do a... Make sure that everything is... Here, I'll even record this. Where am I recording to? Just in case. Output, recording, dating videos. Cool. All right. So what we're going to do is a tier list on what makes you attractive to women, right? What helps with game, what helps with girls, with dating and relationships. This is obviously not an exhaustive list. Some things are going to be kind of generalized and some things are going to be very specific, right? So it's not going to be, what I would like to do is I'll do tier lists of like the individual things too. Like there's a lot of content here, but I'll just do a general tier list of things. The anime tier list next. Yeah. I've watched a fair amount of anime, but not, I'm reading live chat, by the way. I'm doing this on a live stream. If you're watching this as a video, I've watched a fair amount of anime, but not enough to make a tier list. I'm catching up on One Piece, though. I'm on like episode like 340 now, so I'm like a third of the way there. All right, so what makes you attractive to women? Let's start with fitness. So fitness, I would say, you know, obviously you don't need to look like, you know, Jay Cutler. And actually I wouldn't advise a bodybuilder look for attracting women. I would advise, you know, visible abs are nice. I mean, here, I'll show you what the ideal body, right? The ideal body is going to be, let's see, where do I have that? One second, let me make sure. I'm going to kill the display for a second. Just I'll go into my, let me make sure I have the right picture. I'll show you the ideal body, right? This is like, you don't get better than this, right? You don't get any better than this. This is just... Okay. So this is like ideal, right? This is my buddy. He actually looks like this. Like he looks like this pretty much year round. I mean, not as much definition, but this is pretty much his like 365 look, right? This is the most ideal body you could ever have anytime, anywhere when it comes to girls, right? Most of you are not going to be able to achieve this simply because of lack of genetics, and you're not going to be able to get it because of, you're not going to, he doesn't need to take gear. Like this is fucking natural, right? Like literally is natural. And he looks like this all the time, pretty much. So this, if you're like this, yeah, I mean, it's S tier, right? But I would say in general, right? So anything in here can be S tier, right? If you take anything to its max, I mean, except for a few of them. I mean, some of them really don't fucking matter, right? If you take money to the max, I mean, yeah, that's really, 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 really attractive, right? If you take creativity to its max, or tattoos, obviously, no, you can't really max out tattoos. Toughness, I would say, doesn't, when it's maxed out, doesn't really help. Height, yeah, probably. Like being 7 feet tall is like super fucking attractive. texting maxed out, no. But I would say that here, I can take off my headphones. I don't know why I have my headphones on. I'm not listening to anything. I would say that, you know, most things maxed out are going to be S tier, right? But in general, I would say that having a body would be like maybe B plus, maybe A, but let's just say A tier, just because it really does help a lot. Because it's not only about the attractiveness of the physical attractiveness, right? It's about what it does for you. It makes you more confident. In a lot of scenarios, you know, you're just going to feel more strong and more powerful. So you're going to be more dominant and aggressive. And when you're around women, you're going to feel bigger and you're going to feel like they're smaller. So you're going to feel dominant with them. Right. So it just has a lot of effects outside of just the aesthetics. That's why I would put it under A tier. If it's just the aesthetics, I would put it in B tier. But because of what it does for you in a lot of circumstances, I'd put A. But I'm almost tempted to put it into B because of the amount of work that it requires, right? So to get to my friend's level, like you either have to take gear, have to have 1% genetics, and lots of hard work, right? So I would almost put it into B tier because of how much work it would take, but that would add a lot of complexity to the tier list. So let's say it's A tier, right? Skills in the bedroom, S tier. Without a doubt, your ability to smash pussy is probably one of the strongest skills you could have. You could actually suck at everything and be good in bed, and it would be amazing. It would really, really just do wonders for women's attraction to you. And if you know you're good in bed, it's going to have a compounding effect. Or if you're good in bed, it's going to have a compounding effect. And if you know you're good in bed, it's also going to have a compounding effect. So being good in bed is going to make her love you and be attached to you and lust after you. Other people are going to be able to feel it. They're going to be like, wow, this girl's thirsty for this guy. He must have something going on. And if you know, respect for a doubt, he looks like probably around there, but I could be wrong. I mean, he's literally my best friend. I know him all the time. I mean, yeah, the lighting obviously is very good. And the he's taking a good photo, but no, he actually looks like that all the time. I'm serious. Yes, could he lose a little bit of definition? But if he's consistently working out, he's going to look like that all the time. I promise you, this guy is, but he's the 1% of the 1% of genetics. I've never met another human being who has his genetics. I've met a lot of fucking people. This guy is, I've never met anyone with a physique like that. So the one out of so many fucking people that I've met, and I've known a lot of people in my life. I'm very social. They are that defined. I swear to you, dude, this is the 1%. That's do I have another photo? Probably. But that's not the point of this, right? I could find another photo of us just in the gym and him taking his shirt off. But I promise you, he's almost like that all the time. But it's the 1%. If there was anyone else, I'd be like, no. Everyone else has lighting. But literally, he almost always looks like that. So, but like I said, he is the 1% of the 1%, right? So back to bedroom skills. Bedroom skills, S tier. And if you know you're good in bed, bro, you're going to walk around with a certain type of energy. You're going to come off like a fucker, and women are going to feel it. Voice. Okay, so having a good voice, I would say it's either B or A tier, right? It's super important, right? Okay, voice is one of those things where it's not, obviously at the extreme, if you have a very interesting voice, it's going to help you a lot. What voice is an interesting thing where you need at least a baseline, right? He needs, what am I rating? I'm doing a tier list on attractiveness features to women, things that make women attracted to you. What's S tier, what's A tier. So now being good in bed is kind of weird because she's attracted to you for her to end up in bed with you. So it's kind of an interesting variable, but it also is about having the skills. You're going to come off different to women. Like, you're going to act a different way when you're good in bed. Women are going to smell it. But voice is one of those things where you need to have, if you have a bad voice, it's really noticeable. And if you have an amazing voice, it's very noticeable as well. But you just need to have a baseline and not have some weird vocal bad habits. Like, I have a client who really needs to work on projecting his voice. Like, I just made a video about it. Like, he's always cutting off his words before they finish. Like, it's kind of coming off like this. Like, and it's very quiet. And he always talks like he's afraid he's going to wake someone up. Like, even when he's not in that situation. And it's like, so if you have a weird vocal bad habit, it's really noticeable. But it's not super, like, I'd put it B tier. Having a good voice is definitely B tier. But of course, like I said, if you have an amazing world-class voice, yeah, it could be really attractive. But it also depends. It's got to be sexy. Like, if you have an announcer voice, it's impressive, but it's not sexy. And what we're focusing on here is what's sexy to women, okay? Fashion. I would put fashion as A tier, and I would put it above having a good body, right? Seduction skills and traits. I mean, yeah, like, I'm going to include that, but those are different, right? Kind of everything is, a lot of these are going to be seduction. Like, having a good voice is seduction, right? Knowing how to use it in a sexy way is seduction. Fashion, I would say, is better than fitness for a few reasons. One, it requires a lot less dedication, and it's easier to be a consistent dresser. It takes time to learn the skill, but once you have it, you always have it. Whereas being in shape requires constant maintenance. Once you buy clothes, you have the clothes, unless, they don't fit anymore or they're fucked up. Also, it can have the most dramatic effect immediately, right? So this takes maintenance, but it also takes a long time, unless you have amazing genetics. Fashion, overnight, if I put you in a good outfit, it's going to have an overnight change. I mean, it takes time for you to feel comfortable in them, but for the most part, you're going to get really dramatic results when you're, isn't there a balance, though? Example, with a skinny guy with great fashion. Well, yeah. I mean, you could totally throw fitness out of the water and just have fashion. And it would be, because here's the thing, a lot of dating is just getting her interested in the first place. So a lot of your fitness is going to show more once you're maybe naked, right? Or unless you're really showing it off, or she sees you at the gym, right? Or if it's just super obvious, like you're really, really in good shape. But for most guys, being in good shape is not immediately noticeable. That's why I would almost put it into B tier, because unless you're in that S tier, you know what? I'm going to put it B tier. I think that unless you're in that top 1%, like my friend, right? You're not going to be gaining a lot of benefits from it, right? So it's S tier if you look like my friend, A tier if you're like really high quality, but B tier, you're not going to look like you're in shape. It's just going to have some middling effects, right? Let's see. So fashion, but fashion is just, man, fashion's so good. And so you're having trouble with fashion. I found fashion so damn hard. Like, I got color theory and it's been a while. I always took immediately to fashion. Like, it was really easy for me to figure out. I mean, I'm wearing a fucking hoodie right now, right? But when I learned it really, really fast. The funny thing about fitness is I keep saying it's for girls in seduction, but there comes a point where I stop caring about girls and I just want to become Goku. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, sure. I mean, there is that, it's going to be hard to motivate yourself when you're only doing it for girls. But motivating it, doing it for yourself to look like Goku. Yeah, I mean, yeah. You're going to feel more motivated, and it's fun, right? That's for your own enjoyment, right? So self-enjoyment. I know that was another thing that was really big in the early 2010s dating advice was, self-enjoyment, which is super. It is super. I would put that under purpose, right? But let me stay on track. Okay, pre-selection. Pre-selection is the number one thing. Nothing here will beat pre-selection. Nothing. Because it's like a pre-selection is a cheat code, right? You want women to be attracted to you. Well, if you already have women attracted to you, more women are going to be attracted to you. It's kind of like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, right? When you're super successful and you're a millionaire with millionaire friends or billionaire friends, right? They're going to buy you a Lamborghini as a gift just because, fuck you, I'm going to give you a gift. They're not going to walk up to some random person in the street and give them a Lamborghini. Like, successful people gift the most to other successful people. It's just a weird thing. So when you're getting success with women, that's going to contribute the most out of anything else in my life that I found to getting success with women. Like, when I was really focusing on, like, just being a fuckboy, and I was posting on my Instagram, when I was really, like, I had like 1,000 followers or less, right? And I was posting about all the girls liking me. Like, a girl would send me nudes and I post her ass pic on Instagram. Well, 2 other girls would suddenly start messaging me because they know I'm getting laid, right? Or I post a picture with me partying with some cute girl and girls would just start texting me. Girls who were just like saw a YouTube video of me and started following me. When I stopped posting all that stuff, I got a lot less just random horny DMs from girls. So just girls liking you, there's nothing more powerful. Because other girls already like you, so more girls are going to like you because they see other girls liking you. It's almost like you're being pre-approved for a credit card, right? If you have great credit card companies are going to spam you. Like, I have really good credit, right? I have excellent credit, actually. So I get approved for shit all the time, right? And I get pre-approved. They'll just be like, hey, I want you to make an account with us. And they approve me for a pretty decent amount of credit. And if I didn't have student loans, I would have fucking 800 credit score. Right? Not 760 something. So when you're getting a lot of pussy, girls are going to want to give you more pussy. Okay? It's just the cheat code of cheat codes. And I know it sounds circular. It's like, well, I got to get girls in the first place, but it's compounding. Once you start getting girls, more girls are going to like you. And when you're in a drought, that's when you're going to have the most trouble with girls. Like, I've had girls who I was having trouble with, like, maybe we slept together, maybe not, there was some, she wasn't fully locked in yet. Like, not consistently seeing me. Sorry. But then I get a new girl. Like, I kind of was upset about her. And then I get a new girl. Bro, the next day that girl texts me. And she had been playing games with me for weeks and months. And then she fucking texts me, hey, I was thinking about you. Dude, it's the fucking craziest shit. Okay? Or like in college when I would be going through some sort of, reputation shit, or I was kind of down and depressed. Moment I get some new pussy, all of a sudden, these girls are going crazy for me. Like, and girls you wouldn't even know, right? Or I was at a party and a girl was kind of, like I said, on the fence about me. And then I make out with some girl, but then I don't close with her, so in my mind, I failed. But then later on, that girl who I was trying with before that, not the girl that I kissed, comes out to me and is all flirty with me. I'm like, what? Bro, there's nothing better than pre-selection. And I know it sucks because, like you said, you need all the other things to become pre-selected in the first place. Yes. Well, you need something. You don't need all of these things, right? You don't need all of these. You just got to do a few of them really, really well. Like, if you have really good fashion and you're decent at conversation. So she's attracted to you for the fashion. You approach her. You're decent at conversation. She's going to go on a date with you. You end up on a date with her. She's attracted to you enough to have sex with you, and you're really good in bed. That's it. You just needed conversation, fashion, and being good in bed. Just those where you're not fucking creative. You don't have a lot of experience. You're not rich. You're not tall. You're not good looking. You don't have a big dick. You're not decisive. But you have those things. That was enough. Okay. Popular. Popular is A tier. It's not S tier. Because popularity is just a lot of people knowing you and liking you. or a lot of people knowing you. Pre-selection is specifically girls wanting to fuck you. There's tons of people who are popular, but they're not sexy, right? Like, there's people in Hollywood who are popular, but they're not known as sex idols. And then there's people who are sex idols, right? Your Johnny Depps, your Brad Pitts, your Jason Momoa's, right? Very different. Conversational skills. I would either put it under A tier or S tier. I'm tempted to say S tier. Like, conversations, if I know how to recognize what someone doesn't want to fucking talk about and instead talk about what they want to talk about. I mean, you can have all the attraction in the world and completely blow it. Like, I would even put conversation above, like, game, right? A lot of game is just knowing what the fuck to talk about, right? I can recognize that she's not enjoying this topic. I'm going to switch to a different topic. Oh, she likes this topic. I'm going to hammer it. Oh, it's a good topic, but it's losing steam. Switch to another topic. And knowing how to extract things from people, right? So someone says this, right? Like, let me just think about it. This guy left a comment, but you need all those other things to be pre-selected in the first place, don't you? Right? So what he's trying to say is, in the end, it's S tier, but you kind of need to be good at other things. Like, let's say he was with me having a conversation, and he says that. What can I take from that? Well, I'm going to give him my answer. My answer is, yeah, but you only need a few of them. You don't need a lot of them, right? And then once you start getting this, it starts compounding. But then I would think, why did he bring that up, right? Because one person might hear me say pre-selection is S tier, and they go, yeah. But his thing was having, like, not a criticism of it, but a question about it. Like, don't you need these other things in order to get pre-selection? So that would tell me he's either like hungry for knowledge, right? So there's a different type of questioning. Some people ask you questions in details because they're hungry to know more. Then there's also people who want to debate you, right? So what I would do is I would pay attention to which one of those it is. If he's hungry for knowledge, what am I going to do? I'm going to keep talking about it more and give him more knowledge because that's what he wants from me. And that'll make that person be intrigued by the conversation. But if I suspect he's debating me, because I'm good at conversation, I can tell how people are coming off, right? Then, I might hammer it to make my points for him to accept my point, or I might divert away from the conversation because I'm like, okay, this is creating tension between us. So I'm going to avoid this conversation because I don't want to create unnecessary tension. That's skill of conversation. So it's S tier. For sure. Purpose. I'm tempted between B and C tier. Like, purpose obviously has so much power in your life, okay? Right? Like, if you're a depressed fuck with no purpose, you're going to suck with you're going to be unconfident. But I know dudes who are fucking losers, right? But they're amazing with women, right? Now, purpose is like one of these things that the red pill sells is like the shit. It's the shit for your happiness, but this is specifically about girls, right? This is a tier list about girls. I would say it's probably C tier. I would say purpose is C. Like, it's not like, it can be attractive to a woman, but in a very, like, you hooked up with a girl, she's laying on your bed, freshly fucked, she's happy, da-da-da, and then you're like, oh man, I want to work on my book or this and that. And she's like, oh, what are you working on? And you're like, oh, just, she might be attracted to that, right? Purpose is really attractive once you start dating her. Like, once you're deep into the relationship. Whereas all these things are like before you even get together with her or just as you're getting with her, like you're fucking her, like your bed skills. So purpose, like, I'd almost even put it D tier. Like, it's just almost a non-thing, right? The purpose is only good once it ends up with the money or the popularity, right? But we're talking about the purpose itself. All right, so I'd say C tier. Experience. I'd say A or B tier. I mean, in one way, it's like almost S tier because once you have experience, you know so much and you know how to handle different situations. I'd say A tier. I'd say A tier. Like you've been here before, right? So you know how to handle it. You have knowledge. You understand. I've seen girls act this way. Oh, I know she's acting nervous because she's intimidated by me. You know, maybe I'm just like I'm older than her. I'm more experienced. I'm I got all these things over her, and she's just a hot 19-year-old girl, right? So she's intimidated by me. That's why she's either being nervous or putting up this like bad bitch act, right? Or I know she's just shy. Or I can tell I'm making a girl uncomfortable. So either I'm going to get out of the situation, or if it's like a social circle situation, like I'm just not going to give her as much attention, right? But if it's cold approach, I'm going to leave her alone, and this trains my ability. Isn't S tier, isn't experience S tier because it shows a level similar to pre-selection? Yes, it does. That's why it's high A tier, but I wouldn't put it under S tier necessarily, because I'll put it this way. Let's say you have a lot of experience and you know how to handle different situations, but you're not exactly it might give you a compass of where to take the conversation. But let's say maybe you haven't really been, you haven't gotten laid in a while, and you're kind of in a like recent sex. Like I would put that under pre-selection. Like you're in a drought, right? So you have a lot of experience, but you're rusty, right? This happens to a lot of guys, right? Here's a perfect example. So a lot of guys, they'll get a bunch of pussy, right? But then they have either a dry spell or they get in a relationship. And then they get out of the relationship and they're like, fuck, I'm rusty as shit. So they have a lot of experience, but it's not really helping because they're super fucking rusty. Right, so their other things are not so sharp. That experience doesn't change, but the other skills have faded, and they have trouble, and they have a rough patch. So that's why it's A tier, not S tier. Age, age would either be B or C. Like, girls are attracted to older men, right? Obviously not older guys like this, right? But they are attracted to age, but it needs to come with experience, right? So in and of itself, I would say age is a C tier. But it's not D. I would put it D, but C is very experience, or age is very useful if like that's her thing, right? Let's say she's like, she's in her like early to mid 20s and she has a thing for like, she likes to date guys in her 30s. Well, if you happen to be in your 30s, like she just might give you so many passes because she's attracted to you. Or I remember I had this one guy, he was asking me some questions, and he had this girl who was on Tinder and matching with him, and she was like really hammering it home that she liked older men, and he was in his 40s, and she was like, yeah, I remember when my dad's friends used to be around, and I would flirt with them, like very sexually, and they would very sexually hit on me. And she's like, it turned me on so much, right? Now it's fucked up or whatever, it's kind of weird. Like imagine, your friends are hitting on your like teenage daughter, but I'm just going over like what attracted her. And she's like, yeah, I'd always have fantasies about them and I wanted to fuck them and da-da-da. So like, but that was her thing, right? Girls generally are attracted to older men, but for her, it was like a fetish, right? So it's generally an advantage. So long as you do have experience too. But if you're an older guy without experience, it's like fucking D tier, F tier. It's almost like it's a dependent variable, right? So it could almost even be D tier. Like you got to have experience. If it's not matched with experience, you're fucked. It's even worse. Like it's bad, right? Intelligence. It's really how you use it, right? If you know how to use intelligence, it has to be paired with conversation. It has to be paired, with like good fashion or popularity. But like in and of itself, it's D or C. It's not super useful. I've learned how to use it in conversation, but most people who are intelligent use it in a really shitty, stupid way. Either they come off fucking pompous with it, right? Or they don't know how to weave it into the conversation, right? So I would say like D or C. honestly. Unless, of course, you're super intelligent and, you're a Nobel laureate winner, right? Like I said, anything taken to the extreme is S tier. Creativity, I would put B. Low B tier. Being creative is way more attractive than being intelligent. Being creative is super... Does it include what I said earlier about making things sound simple? Yeah. Like, a truly intelligent person knows how to break down things. Like, he would use that in his conversation. He would be able to break down a complicated subject. Like, I would break down, like, Buddhism and religion. Like, things that I was well-read in. And I would explain it in a way that people could understand. They go, holy shit, like, I didn't even know that was what it was about. And they went, wow, and they gained respect for me, or attraction if it was a girl. So, yeah, that would be a sign of actual intelligence, right? So intelligence is one of those things where, like, if you're in shape, you're in shape. Like, no one can say you're not in shape. But intelligence is one of those weird things where, like, just because you know a lot of big words, like, does it actually mean you're intelligent? Like, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I think would be a really good example of someone who's... I actually don't consider him very intelligent, but he's very charismatic. But he also fails in a lot of charismatic. Like, if you've seen his interviews with Joe Rogan, like, he just comes off so pompous and arrogant and stupid, right? And annoying, constantly interrupting. I wouldn't really consider him an intelligent person. I don't feel it. And a lot of my professors in university, I felt the same. I didn't get the impression they were actually intelligent. They just focused on something and then, like, became renowned in it, right? Because to pass your doctoral, your dissertation defense or your thesis defense, you don't have to be proven right, all right? You just have to be well-read enough to handle objections. So I wouldn't say it's, intelligence. Creativity, though, like, because creative is fun. Intelligent is boring a lot of times. Creative is fun. Like, being able to fucking paint or playing instrument, like, I would almost put it into A tier. I would say very specific, or being able to write, okay. But just we're not saying like you're creating success out of it, like you're a world famous author. Well, yeah, okay, but that's creativity plus popularity, right? So if you combine these things, they morph, they evolve, right? But creativity. Let's say you're just a normal guy who works at fucking Home Depot, but you happen to be creative. It'll be interesting to a girl. It might be something that sets you apart from the other Home Depot workers, right? But it's not going to be it's not going to be like, wow, unless you're world class. Skills. So you're skilled, right? Like, now what we mean by skilled is like you were on my video. Yeah. You're like skilled, right? Like you're really good at something. Like any one of these things, you're good at it. I would say it's lower A tier, maybe high B tier, right? Like not necessarily world class, but you're good at it. You're good at it. I would say it's A tier because it's going to give you other things. It's going to get you popularity and respect. It's going to get you money. It's going to provide a lot of things. And even if here's another thing, even if you have only a few things, if you have multiples of them, that's enough. And if you get those and then you get pre-selection, boom, you're in the S tier. Right? You just need a few good things going on to get success with women. You don't have to be an S tier, right? S tier is like you're a fucking god. You're just so attractive to women, right? You don't need that. Most of you are going to be B, C tier. That's just reality because a lot of you aren't going to dedicate your life to, fucking pussy. It's not your main drive. So skills I would put into low A tier. What achievable skills do you recommend? Anything that fucking makes you money, which can give you freedom. or anything that's respectable. Like, okay, what if I'm not world class? What if I'm really good at Street Fighter, right? Okay, there's a skill, right? It's a video game or something. Let's say not like I'm good at fencing, right? I'm good enough to go to tournaments and do decently well, right? Like Street Fighter, I was master rank, and in Street Fighter 4, I was pretty good too. They didn't have those rankings, but you know, I'm master rank and I'm pretty decent within the master rank, and I was playing the worst character in the game, right? Well, if I go to a tournament and girls see me kicking ass in a tournament and I upload it on Twitch or on YouTube, it might be pretty attractive. But it has to be something that's attractive to women. Being good at Street Fighter is not. Unless I'm a world-class streamer, right? Then it's attractive, okay? If I'm like a Punk or, you know, a Justin Wong, right? Or you know, a Daigo. Okay, now it's, you know, now it can be attractive to women. But it's not really inherently. But if I'm good at playing an instrument, okay, that's inherently universally respected by all women. And the more sexy the instrument is, the better. Like guitar and, you know, piano. Or in violin, right? Those to me are just off the bat like the sexiest. Guitar and violin are tied. You know, copywriting, I mean, who the fuck cares, right? No one gives a shit you're a good copywriter unless you're making money from it. Right? So the more popular the skill is, the more mainstream the skill is, the higher it is. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put it into B tier. And I'm going to put it a little bit above creativity. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit above creativity. Because creative people are usually a bit more skilled overall than just purely intelligent people. Like, purely intelligent people, what do? They work at universities. Like, they have a high ability to hold a lot of things in their head, but they're not necessarily wise with it. They don't have any actual fucking skills. Let's see. What is this? Facial expressions or body language? I think it's body language. Body language, A tier. And I'll do facial expressions at the same time, too. Facial expressions and body language are almost as good as conversation. They're very, very, very good at conversation, right? Or they're almost as good. Conversation can trump them, right? Having that gift of the gab is just fucking... But if you don't have conversation paired with body language, it's going to suffer. But body language without conversation, fuck, man. I don't know. It can be really, really attractive. But I think it's worse. Here's why. That buddy of mine with the fucking S tier body, right? Here, let me 1 second. Because I don't know what I have like on my computer. Okay, so I'll give you an example. So my buddy, right? Amazing genetics and work ethic, right? He also has really good body language. He has like the most epitome of like the stoic, strong silent type, right? And girls are very, very drawn to it. Like, it's super attractive to them. Super, super attractive. I've seen it in person. Like, we're hanging out at a party and I'm like with my girl, and then I remember specifically we're at a club and I invited a bunch of people, and I have my little table because I happen to know the owner. I didn't even know I knew the owner. He lived in my building. I saw him. He's like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And he gave us like this table, and he gave us some shots. And so then I started inviting my friends, and then fucking a few hours later, the whole I was like the center of the club, and I was sleeping with this really hot girl at the time, and my buddy was with me, and so was everyone else, and my girl had a friend who was also really pretty, and she was really attracted to him. I mean, I could see it in her eyes, and she told me, she's like, "Yeah, I think he's hot." And I was like, "Dude, talk to her. Fucking talk to her." And my friend is a fucking mongoloid sometimes, okay? And he wouldn't fucking talk to her. And I'm like, God damn it. And then towards the end of the night, I straight up asked her, I was like, why don't you go talk to him? She's like, no. And she's like, actually, I'm not really attracted to him anymore. Like, I'm kind of annoyed he wouldn't just come talk to me. Like, he wouldn't just fucking do it, right? So he had the body language, and he had, like, the strong, silent type, sexy facial expressions to, like, attract her, but he wouldn't fucking talk to her, right? Like, he didn't know how to talk to her. So conversation, I'd say, is still S tier. I'd say it's your most powerful weapon outside of just straight up pre-selection, but pre-selection is kind of like the god tier, right? I would almost put pre-selection. How do I put another tier? 1 second. Add row above. God tier. Right? Pre-selection is the god tier. Like, you could suck at everything, and if a bunch of girls want to suck your dick, they're just gonna, they're gonna. But the biggest thing that can contribute to you getting god tier is your fucking your conversation and dicking girls down. Like, these things are the fucking bread and butter of seduction. Can you fucking talk? And once you get in bed, how well can you dick them down? Money. I would either say C or B. So money's really interesting. It can get you around hot girls, right? That's what a lot of the red pill was so excited about. Like, once you have money, you can go to Dubai and hang out with all these hot girls and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't get you them. And it does attract them, but I mean, not just gold diggers. I mean, it'll attract anybody. The biggest thing money gives you is fucking ability. Like, I was able to fly out my wife to come meet me because she was living in Ukraine and I was living in Romania at the time. If I didn't have the money to fly her out, it would have significantly made our relationship harder. And she wasn't gold digging or anything. I mean, she proved to me just how loyal she was. She got on a bus and drove 21 hours to see me, right? Because I tested her to see if she would actually make that sacrifice for me. But just my ability to fly her out, because a ticket would be half her monthly salary, right? And I remember I flew out a couple different girls just because I wanted to have that experience. Like, what's it like to fly girls out? So I invited a fan of mine, right, to come visit me. And we fucked the shit out of each other. We had threesomes, and it was really fun. And I just experienced. So I was like, oh, this is what it's kind of like to be a celebrity on a small level, right? On like a peasant level, right? So it really was amazing. But we're talking not about general life, but will it actually attract women, right? I would say it's probably C tier or like lower B tier, right? It's above purpose, definitely. If you use the money to buy good clothes and to bring you around cool social circles that will get you popularity and then therefore pre-selection, then it's like A tier, right? But in and of itself, just being rich, I'd say C tier. Height. You guys are going to hate this one. You guys are going to hate it. A tier. Good looks. It depends. If you're like 5'5" and really good looking, height wins. If you're, at least average height, good looks win. But if you're like 6'5", okay. Like I said, if done to the extremes, or you're like 7 foot, like, girls are gonna be into that. Like, because you're such a freak of nature. I mean, what percentage of men are 7 foot? Like, or let's say 6'5". 6'5". Height percentile. 6'5". What is this? You're in the You're in the 2% of men, right? So you're in the 98th percentile. So that means 2%, right? So 2% of men are 6'5". Like, you're already there, right? What percentage of men are good looking? I don't know. Like, this kind of good looking? Like, model good looking? Like, I don't know. But here's the thing. These are things that get you in the door. And they can get you laid, even if you maybe aren't the greatest at conversation. But they're definitely A tier. Like, they're definitely A tier. But having experienced good fundamentals and good conversation beats them. It beats them. It beats them. It really does. It really does. It definitely does. Big dick. Here's the thing. Big dick will help in bed, and it will help pre-selection. Because it's not always about, like, you don't need a big dick, right? You can make a girl come with a smaller dick. It's about the mental thing. It's about the domination that she feels. Like, she feels small. She feels like she's getting ripped apart. She feels like she's getting dominated. In terms of actual physicality, it's not important. But for the mental game, it helps a lot. Like, when she's sucking your dick and she feels like she's, like, sucking something big. Like, it's the experience rather than the actual physicalness of it. I would say it's around, I'd say these are in, like, you could be short, not good looking, have a huge dick, and it could really help you, actually. Here's the thing. If you're tall and good looking but have a small dick, it's really going to hurt you. So actually, I'm going to put this. So that's all we have to ask, right? So let's say. What the fuck? How do you do this? Oh my God. I'm horrible at this. So let's say you're good looking. So she's really into you. If you have an average dick, that's fine. Tall but a small dick, it's like almost hurts you. I know this because I had I wouldn't even say a friend. He's an asshole. He was my friend. And then in high school, I really liked this girl, and it didn't work. It was like the girl who started my story, like the one who, like, broke my heart. And he started talking to her, I think because he ended up going to, like, a basketball game and met her or something. And he was really good looking and tall. Like, girls, like, loved him, right? He was good looking and tall. What's funny is I was friends with him in middle school. We were good friends. We would hang out all the time. And he was kind of goofy, but he was a swimmer. So he was in really good shape. But he didn't yet know how to show it. Somewhere in high school, I think his mom must have taken him to a dentist because they fixed his teeth and started to help his styling. And he started to flesh out more, and he got hot. Well, as soon as he got hot, all these girls were all over him, right? They were, like, super, super into him. And he started becoming popular and starting to spend less time with me, blah, 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 whatever. Good for him, right? Well, it moves on. He starts, like, talking to this girl, and he even starts rubbing it in my face. I remember I was at one of the few parties I went to in high school, and he went up and showed me how he was texting her. I was like, why are you rubbing this in my face? Like, I must have been such an asshole in my past life where people felt the need to be competitive with me. Like, dude, it's the weirdest thing. Like, when I was in middle school, I had a crush on a girl, and there was this guy who liked her. This motherfucker saw me. His friend pointed to me, walked across, like, the schoolyard, and was like, hey, I heard you like Cecily. That was her name. And I was like, he's like, yeah, well, I'm talking to her. And he's this tall guy. Like, even in, like, it was my first year of middle school, 6th grade, before I moved to a different state. And I was I didn't even start puberty. Like, I was still a few years behind even starting puberty. This is a tall dude. And he was, like, your typical, like, cool alpha male kid. And just walked up and just, like, said it in my face. I was like, what the fuck? What did I? So I must have this, like, I must have some karma for people to want to be competitive with me. Because I must have been a fucking asshole in my previous life, you know? So I don't know what was people, like, wanting to show up about it. But anyways, so back to dick size. So I find out about this because I end up talking to this girl years later. And they end up hanging out, and they end up, like, making out and going to his room. So they're about to fuck, because she tells me. And she said, He took off his pants, and he had a really small dick. The way she said it, it was micro, right? Now she's a bit of a bitch, this chick, right? Because I actually have a client. Now, he doesn't have a micro penis, but he has a very small penis, and he said it's like hard, like 4 inches, like it's small, right? And I asked him, I was like, well, I don't know. I haven't been in that situation. Do girls continue to want to see you? He's like, yeah, actually, like a decent amount. I'm like, okay, well then it clearly isn't an issue. He says only one time has it fucked me, and there was a girl. She came home with him, and he showed it, and she was like, I can't do this, and left. Only one time, and he's fucked like 15 girls, okay? So, that's pretty small, right? He said like 3.5, 4 inches hard, okay? But he says it really wasn't that big of an issue, okay? But with the friend, like, she left. She did a similar thing. It's like she walked away. And probably because it was this really weird combination of him being really good looking and him being really tall and in really good shape too, because he was a swimmer, but then having a small dick. It was like, I guess it was the comparison, right? But here's the thing. As long as you're average, you're fine. But having a big dick is a really big advantage. It really helps you, right? How good are 5 to 6 inches really? That's fine. You're literally average. The average size is 5.5 inches. You're fine. You're fine. But if you have a big dick, it helps. It really helps because girls will talk about it. And it turns them on. It just does, right? It's just one of those things where if you don't have it, that's fine. As long as you're average, you're fine. As long as you're average height, you're fine. As long as you're average looking, you're fine. Okay? It only hurts you when, like, it's really bad, right? But even then, you can be really successful. But you need to have something else to compensate. Because, yes, by nature, is it attractive? Being good looking, yes, it helps. Duh. Being tall, yes, it's very attractive. But just get something else to compensate for it. So if you have a small dick, be good in bed. Eat pussy like no one's ever eaten pussy before. Learn how to finger like no one's ever fingered before. Okay? But if you have a big dick, it really helps. Like, it's when it helps. What's considered big? 7.2 inches. Yes. 7.2 inches is big. Yes. I mean, you got to tell me. Have girls told you you have a big dick? If you're 7.2 inches, basically 7.5 inches, yes. That's big. That's significantly bigger than average. Is 6 big? 6 is average. But the only way you're going to know is, like, when you fuck girls, do they tell you you're big? Okay. So, but dude, if you don't have it, like, you could cry all you want about it. You just don't have it. Wait until your next life. Okay? Do some good karma. Right? Do good karma in this life. Right? And wish to be born with a big dick in your next life. But I would suggest trying to go to heaven. Don't try to be human again. This place kind of sucks. Decisiveness. Decisiveness, I would put A tier, bro. I would almost put it A+ tier. Like, being decisive, fuck, bro. So here's the thing. You could have all these things, and then you just don't take advantage of it. Like, a girl asks you. Like, I remember I was in San Diego flirting with a girl, and it was going well, and she just looked at me, and she's like, so what do you want from me, Hector? Like, what do you want? It was a test moment. And I was like, and I waffled. I was like, I don't know. I lost her immediately. She's like, okay. She's like, well, And then started turning and, like, ignored me. And I was like, oh, And she's like, no, I'm good. Like, she wanted me to just say, I want to take you home and fuck you. Like, that's what I should have said. Decisiveness. Like, big dick swagger, big dick energy. Knowing when to pull her. And when it's time to pull, you pull. Dude, you could have everything, right? You could have pre-selection. You could have this. Actually, I'm going to put it S tier. You could have good looks, this, that. But it's time to pull, and you don't pull, you're done. Like my friend, who was really good looking. She was attracted to his body language, everything. He didn't just talk to her, right? So it wasn't even a failure of conversation, actually. It was a failure of decisiveness. Go, right? So decisiveness, actually, you know what? I might even put it as number one besides pre-selection. I might even put it as God tier. I'm so tempted because guess what decisiveness is? I'm going to go approach girls. Right? So decisiveness is the anti-approach anxiety. Because if you don't actually talk to girls, I'm going to put a God tier. If you don't actually go talk to girls, you're never going to get pussy. You're never going to get it. You're only going to get occasionally a girl fucking talks to you. Right? You go. Or decisiveness is knowing when to do a maybe, when to sit back and wait. Be like, I don't think she's ready yet. Doesn't feel ready. Like, if I just wait 30 more minutes before trying to pull her home, I'm going to avoid the negative compliance of her having said no. Like, dude, like, that makes the world of difference. Right? Or knowing when to back off. Like, I'm decisively going to exit the situation. Like, you're at a party, you're talking to a girl, you know she's not interested, you exit. You just saved yourself possibly looking bad and looking simpy and continuing to pay attention to her, and you're going to go talk to a different girl. Dude, decisiveness is God tier. It is the fucking, oh my God. I've lost so much pussy, and I've gotten so much pussy because of my decisiveness. It is so good. Hey, Kobe. Yeah, the tier list is great. This is what it's looking like. I probably should zoom in a little bit more. 1 second. I have a notification I need to take off, but I don't want to open my Skype. Oh, it's some random, like, sex bot. I get those sometimes. It's weird. Like, they're like, some random girl on Skype wants to add you. I'm like, okay, you're going to advertise a, porn site. Had a girl in bed and lost her due to indecisiveness. Yeah, exactly. Dude. Decisiveness is just, it's just, wow. Like, you could be not as good as another guy, but you take her. I'll give you another example. I was in San Diego at a party all night, and I was talking to 2 girls, and I fucked up with my girl, but this other guy was doing pretty well with his girl. But we've made our way after the bar crawl to, like, another bar, and he had her, but was just holding on. Wasn't, and I was like, dude, you got to pull. And then I lost my girl, so I went to go look for more girls, and then I came back, and I saw him in, like alone, like, looking really sad. I was like, hey, man, what's up? And he's just like, or did I say anything to him? I don't know. But I was like, oh, he lost her. And then I was outside with my friends. I think I was smoking a blunt or smoking a joint. And then I fucking see the girl that he was with and some, like, tall, like, really, like, aggressive looking guy grabbing her hand and, like, walking out of the bar with her, right? And this dude was weird. Like, he was weird. Because he, like, walked out of the bar and was looking for, like, an exit. And, like, there was a gate against the wall outside. Bro, he just grabbed it and moved it. Like very, like, and it was heavy, like, really aggressively, like, exited. Like, he didn't even wait to go outside the normal door. Like, he just grabbed her and fucking walked out. And he was, like, really aggressively pulling her. And she was like, eh. Now, she was into that type of guy, right? Like, he looked like he was, I don't know if he was on something. Like, he was very aggressive. But he was like, it's time to fuck, it's time to pull. Boom. Got her out of there. Okay? Like, so that guy was working on her all night. He probably has better game than this fucking jabroni, right? But this jabroni smelt blood. He capitalized on another man's work and fucking took her home and boom, just pulled her. Just knowing when to pull, man. It's huge. Empathy. I would say empathy is, it's a mixed bag, right? It's B tier. Like, I know we want to think it's higher. It can actually be amazing, right? It can be S tier if you're really good, but if it keeps you from being decisive, that's when it fucking kills you. If you're so empathetic that you absorb their emotions, you're fucked. But if you have the empathy to read their emotions, it's S tier. But if it will dominate your emotional state, it can really, really fuck you. So it's really variable. Like, I don't know. Like, I want to say S tier and I want to say B tier. Let's say A tier. Grug game. Yeah. Fucking Kronk game. Just love of women. Boom. God tier. This shit will take you to the ends of the earth. I would almost say it's number one. Like I'm tempted to say it's even better because it is pre-selection, right? If you love women, you truly love women. You're not just horny. Like you love, like you find them fascinating. Women can feel it. It's amazing. Because actually, pre-selection is an effect. Like women know you love them, so they love you. Right? That's the best thing that Zan Perion has ever said. That's his magnum opus. The line, "A man who loves women is loved by women." That's his. That's like he could boil his entire philosophy into that. That's the best thing he's ever said. Love of women. Like, dude, it'll inspire you to actually go with them. It'll inspire you to learn about them. It'll come through when you're talking to them. So that's what people think when they think of empathy. Empathy is just your ability to read people, right? And to feel their emotions, so it informs you of what they're thinking. But what they really are hoping that is the thing, right? They're like, "Oh my God, empathy, it doesn't." The love of women, that's the thing. It's like the top thing. Do you want them to be better? Like, do you want her life to be better? Do you want to know about her? Do you like? Because wanting to know what makes a girl tick is what's going to help you in conversation. Like, it just encompasses everything. It's going to make you good in bed because you love her. How do you suggest you cultivate greater love for women? Like, first of all, knowing that you love women, loving women, the first thing you should understand is wanting to fuck them well is one of the greatest gifts you can give them. Like, a woman feeling desired and fucked is one of the greatest loves you can give her. On the level of man to woman. Because by nature, man to woman relationships are sexual. Right? Of course, you care about her as a person and whatnot. But the actual love of her as a sexual being and giving that to her, I mean, one of the greatest loves a woman can give you is sucking your dick and letting you fuck her. Because it fulfills you on so many levels. It says, I'm enough. I'm worthy of procreating. You know, I'm like that intimacy. Dude, it's like, it's one of the strongest bonds in the universe. Shit, even you know, Luangta Mahabua, you know, he was an Arhat monk in Thailand, right? He said the strongest force outside of, you know, becoming enlightened is sexual energy. He says, so once you overcome sexual energy, you become an anagami, which is the third level of enlightenment. It's easy from there on in. It's just a question of time. Like, the main pain of becoming enlightened is letting go of lust. Because lust is by nature the greatest drive. It's even greater than hatred. Lust is so fucking powerful, right? Well, we can reverse engineer that, and, you know, if we're just interested in you know, worldly affairs and not becoming enlightened and being liberated from the cycle of birth and death, sex is like one of the greatest motivators. So if you love women, become more sexual with women. Want to be what they want. So become what they desire. It flames lust in them, and then give them the consummation of that lust by fucking their pussy. That's how you love women. That's the number one thing men misunderstand when it comes to loving women, is making them horny and fucking them is actually one of the greatest gifts you can give them. Then the second thing is, you should want to leave them better than you found them. Leave them better than you found them. Find some way to enrich their life. Like, interact with women in a way that, like, just literally think to yourself, how can I make her life better? How can I make her life better? How can I make her life better? Like, literally just ask yourself that. And if that becomes a predominant thought in your mind, your mind will adjust to it. It will think like that. Toughness, I would say C or B. I mean, it can make you really attractive to women. and it can help in life in general, but we're just talking about attractiveness to women. I'd say it's around the same level as money. I mean, it could be really attractive to women. Like winning a fight, you know, if a girl watches you win an MMA fight, it's really fucking attractive, right? But that's only going to happen once every few months, right? Seeing you in training, that'll be kind of attractive. Like, it's a skill, right? But just being tough in general, like, it's attractive, but not that much. Tattoos are like C tier. The reason they're not higher is because they can have a negative, like, if you have too many of them, it can kind of have a, like, you're more of a bad boy. I'd say B. Let's say B. It can, and let's put it next to fitness. Like, it can be really attractive, but it can if you go too far, like, this is probably too much, right? Like, full sleeves, full chest, full neck, it's too much. If she's that kind of girl, like an alternative kind of chick, it's like crack to her. But, you know, it's helpful. Texting I would put in A. Especially in our day and age. Just having the ability to text well. Like, fuck, dude. It's really, really, like, it's so unbelievably fucking necessary. God, Jesus. And this is where I can do some advertising. Please go buy my fucking texting book. Dude, it's $10 on Amazon. Go to Amazon, go to What She Really Means, fucking read it, and review it. Leave a review for me. It's so necessary these days. It's such a fucking necessary skill. Like, holy shit. Sucking at texting, dude, you could have all of this and then you get on the text and you fucking suck dick. Right? I would almost, like, put it, like, high A tier. Yeah. Yeah, it was published, man. I launched it, like, in January. So go on Amazon. What She Really Means. Right here. Someone left me a 3-star. I don't know and it's someone who I gave the book to for free. I don't know why. It's such a dick thing to do. I mean, I guess I have to be happy that they're honest, right? Like, oh, it's too technical, but it has to be a technical because I can't just give you fucking things to say. But it's like, fuck, man, really? But I guess I can't complain. They're being honest. He says he needs to finish it to give some more updates, but whatever. But yeah. Please go buy it and please review it. It's so fucking important. It's so important to get good at this. So important. I would prefer if you'd leave a 5-star. Because of my integrity, I have to ask you to be honest. Well, if you don't think it's 5, just don't leave a review. Then I'm not asking you to lie and be dishonest. I'm just asking you to not leave a review. I would prefer if you have a 5-star to leave it. And if you think it's less, just do me a favor and don't review it. Oh, man. So, yeah. Anyways. Like, of course you're not going to have 5 stars, right? Someone's not going to like it. But the fact that it was my 3rd review. Oh, man. Anyways, here's the finished tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoy making tier lists. They're fun. It's probably one of my in terms of, like, I guess, reaction videos, content reaction, I like tier lists the best. Because tier lists, dude, I've always cared about tier lists ever since I was playing competitive Street Fighter. It's so much fun. And it's such a fun, visual, easy to understand format. I'll do tier lists. I just won't do I would like, personally, I would enjoy doing tier lists about, like, other dating advice channels, right? I definitely could, you know. Well, here's the thing. I would put most of them in C or B tier. There's only 2 I would put. There would be one I put into A or S, and then there would be one God tier, and you know who that is. It's fucking me, right? Everyone else I genuinely would put into B, C, and D, and F. There's one I would put it into A tier, and then one I would put into above S tier, God tier. I genuinely think that everyone fucking sucks. Like, I don't mean that to be cruel. I just don't think that people are good. They either aren't actually good with girls, right? Like, they're very mediocre. They just did it a lot, right? So they'll have a high lay count, but they're not actually good, right? And we don't even know their quality of girls, which obviously is very subjective. They suck at explaining it, like teaching it. That's a completely different skill. You can be great with girls and suck at teaching it, or they don't understand why, right? They have stupid ideas, right? Like, they're good with girls, but they don't even understand why they're good with girls. Like, they think it's this, but it's actually this. So in order to be a good dating coach, you have to be good with girls, and you have to be a philosopher. Basically have to be a philosopher. And then you have to be a teacher as well. So it's 3 fucking skills in one. It's really, 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 really hard. Really hard. And the guy who I would put into A tier, right? He's very good with girls, genuinely. And he knows why, but he's not that great at teaching it. That's where he fails, is he doesn't know how to teach it. He doesn't know. Haircuts. Oh, fuck, hair. Yeah, I guess I could have said that. Haircuts are a pretty big deal. And I'm actually going to grow out my hair. I'm not going to get it super long, but I'm going to grow it out. I decided. So you guys are going to see long-haired Hector again. It's like an old Pokemon being discovered. So which guy is that? I mean, like I said, I don't want to talk about people. That's the reason I wouldn't make what if I were to make a dating coach tier list, like, I would shit on everybody. And I don't want to do that. Because that's not the reputation I want to garner. Would it make my videos super popular? Yeah. But it would cause unnecessary strife. I'm sure they would want to come after me, right? There's no benefit from it. It's like black magic. It's like you get a lot from it, but you at what cost, right? I would just prefer to continue to put out positive content that, occasionally I'll deal with ideas from other dating coaches. I just don't tell you who I'm getting them from. Okay. So, I mean, you could guess if you have a fucking brain, but, like, I'll talk about red pill shit, but, it's not, it's just, no, I'd rather be positive. I'd rather create a community of you going out and doing work, not just sitting around fucking watching drama. Now, drama's really attractive. Dude, I'm attracted to drama. Like, everyone's guilty of it, right? We all love drama. But I promise you won't like drama if you're the star of it. Especially if you're on the end of it. Guarantee you wouldn't like it. If you meet me in private, sure, I'll tell you in private who I fucking think is good and who's bad. But like I said, dude, I'm telling you, aside from one person, I think everyone's very average. Very average. And some of them are bad. Some of them are average. Some of them, like, sure, they get pussy. Yeah, they get laid. Do I think they should be teaching? No. I know random dudes in college who are better than them. Not bad. I guess since they're better than the average person, sure, they can teach. I mean, hey, dude, at the end of the day, if someone's giving you results, fucking watch them. If you watch me and I don't give you results, fuck Hector. Go watch someone else. Do what works for you, man. Someone sitting on a tier list isn't important. You putting your dick in a pussy is important. You having a wife and a mother of your children that you're happy with is important. A fulfilling relationship. My identity and my ego or someone else's ego is not important. So that's why I don't do those kind of tier lists. But I'll think of other tier lists that are fun. Anyways, I'm pretty exhausted. I just talked for like a long time straight. So, GG guys, I love you. I will see you again very soon. And like I said, go buy my texting book. If you're interested in coaching, shoot me a message on Instagram at Real Hector Castillo. It's expensive, but it's worth it because I'm the best in the world, and I say that without hesitation. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Love you. Ciao.